Hello everybody and welcome to my superb speaking system. I just wanted to tell you what is going to be included in this system so you can navigate your way around it. A big massive thank you to the initial group of people who've actually bought into this system without even knowing what's totally included within it. So I'm just going to run you through the system now so you know the bits that you can go to immediately. First of all, you've already seen the overall system whereby I'm looking at where you're going to speak to put yourself in front of your target audiences, and that's either going to be online through webinars and videos, or it's going to be offline through speaking on stage or just in meetings, and that could be board meetings, say up to 12 people, or maybe even 3 or 4 people, or even in a one-to-one meeting. The information that I'm going to be giving you will work in one-to-one meetings just as well. So that's the context of the system, and then you've got the actual speaking skills which form the necessary body, if you like, of any of those speaking. So if you're speaking in webinars or on stage, you still need to have those presentation skills, and the presentation skills are built up of having confidence, content, charisma, and then always looking for that continuous improvement. This is how professional speakers get to where they're at, because they take one speech, one talk, a signature talk that they call it, or a keynote speech, and they continuously improve it until it is absolutely spot on. At the heart of all of it is the selling. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or internet marketer selling a product or a service, or whether you're perhaps selling yourself in a job interview or promotion interview, or perhaps you're trying to win a big contract, or if you're just in a meeting selling an idea. Selling is still at the heart of it all. Now, before we do any of this, however, there are certain things that you need to do before you're even ready to start speaking in front of an audience, and this is where I've introduced the Sibley bit to my superb speaking system. Okay, let's just move the slides on. Okay, so basically Sibley, obviously that's my surname, which is where I got it from, but it has special meaning as well. So first of all, you've got to get the right subject. Now, before you can actually be successful, it's no good just going out there talking about whatever takes your fancy. You've got to really decide what is your niche, what is the target audience that you want to work with, what is the big promise that you've got to offer them, and you know how your subject is going to deliver that big promise. And this is the first thing that you need to work on if you're still kind of struggling with, well, what is your big thing. So the first thing is to nail your niche, your target audience, and particularly your subject. The next thing then is just imagine being the go-to person in that particular subject area. What things are you going to need to be able to deliver to be that go-to expert? I mean, your imagination can run riot here. First of all, you can imagine all the lovely lifestyle things that being that go-to expert will bring you, the difference that you're going to make in so many of your followers' lives. But what you also need to do at this point is just imagine it, okay, that go-to person, what is it that they have to be? What is it that they have to offer in order to be considered that credible authority and to have that expert status? Then what you need to start doing is looking at all the ideas that you've got so far. You need to get all of your ideas together into a system. So a bit like my speaking system where I've got a nice model, you need to put all your stuff into a similar kind of model. But at this stage you just want to start bouncing ideas. And then what you need to do is learn even more. Take the top 3 or the top 5 people in your chosen topic area and study everything that they've got. You know, what is it that makes them the current top 3 to 5 people in this particular niche? What are they offering? What are they covering? Have a look at it. See if you can challenge any of it. You know, can you see something that you think, actually, do you know what? I think that's outdated, and I think this is what, you know, the current thing should be. Can can you adapt it? Can you are there any gaps in the stuff that you've got? So what's important is that this becomes your system and you don't just pinch somebody's ideas. But remember, there's nothing new out there, even the likes of Tony Robbins have taken their ideas from their teachers. So Tony Robbins, for example, has taken, if you have a look at his stuff, a lot of it has come from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A lot of it has come from the NLP teachings of Richard Bandler. And then what he's done is he's taken what he's liked, he's put it into his own language, and he's created his own models and a massive following to boot. So this is what you do. You need to take the information from the best, learn from them, look at all the ideas that you've got so far, and then what you need to do is put all of that into your own model. So the first thing is to establish your own model or system, and then once you've done that, you're ready. Now is when you're ready to actually push your model out there. One of the big mistakes that I made was I just started talking about everything and anything under the sun. I didn't have a model. I had a subject, presentation skills and public speaking, but it was still pretty disjointed, if you like. And one of the big things that I've learned is to put all of this into a system. Hence, what you've got now is a raw system that I am working on and polishing until it's going to be, a diamond of a system. And this is what you need to do as well. So once you've done all that, we go back to the system. We need to then start working through it. And the first thing is to look at confidence. Confidence comes from three major areas. It comes from not just learning about the wider thing now, but learning about speaking, learning about your beliefs around speaking, learning various confidence techniques, and learning the more you learn about your skill and your craft as well as about your subject, the more confidence you're going to have. It also comes from preparation, and it comes from getting into the right state. And we're going to expand on each of these three areas as we take you through the program. So yes, we're going to be encouraging you to learn more about your subject from the experts in your field. This is exactly what I'm doing. This is why I'm one of Andy Harrington's students, because I wanted to upskill. I wanted to learn from the best. So do the same, really upskill in your area. You need to learn more and more about your your target audience as well. So you need to find out what is it that floats their boat. So rather than you just delivering what you think they want, then what you need to do is bring them in and find out what they actually want. And again, that's part of what I'm doing with the initials of this system, which is one of the reasons why I offered it at a very low price, is because I want my audience's input. I want people to tell me what they want to learn from me and not just what I think I should be delivering. And finally, you need to learn those actual speaking skills. It's a bit like riding a horse. I learned to ride a horse the wrong way. I did it by falling off lots of times. Eventually I went and got lessons, and then all of a sudden my journey became so much easier. And it's the same with the speaking. I actually did that the wrong way too. I was just forced into doing it at work, and then finally I started to go on courses and it became a lot easier. So learning is a massive part of building your confidence. And then of course, when you're ready to actually speak, there's all the preparation. So it's all about making sure you do prepare the topic that you're going to be talking about that day and not just winging it. It's important that you not just know the topic you're going to be talking about, but actually craft it into a talk that works, and more importantly, into a talk that's going to sell for you. Whether that's just selling your idea or whether it's selling a product. And finally, you have to prepare yourself. There's certain things that you can do to prepare yourself to make you feel more confident. The next thing is all about getting into the right state. Confidence is just a mood. And it's a snapshot of how you feel in any given moment. And you have the ability to change how you feel in any given moment. And in order to do that, we look at what you're focusing on, the language that you're using internally in your internal dialogue, and even your physiology makes a massive difference. So those are the things that all add up to confidence. Okay, the next area then is content. And what you need to do here is look at your message, your structure, and then all the magic ingredients. So first of all, the message. It's important that you spend time thinking about the purpose of your talk. What do you want your audience to think, feel and do at the end of it? Then it's all about looking at how you structure the talk, you know, so number one, so that it makes sense, but number two, that all the way through you're seeding the idea that you want to sell, or you're seeding the idea that your audience, you know, is going to want to buy your product or service. So there's a massive amount of work to do on the structure. And then you've got the magic ingredients. These are the things that at the end of a talk people go, oh my goodness, that was absolutely amazing, but they don't necessarily know why it was so good. They can't put their finger on it. All they know is that it was an amazing talk delivered by an amazing speaker. But actually what that magic, what those magic ingredients are things like use of what we call rhetorical devices. So things like using alliteration, using similes, using metaphors, stories, anecdotes, using a whole load of stuff that I'm going to be able to teach you. Also, it's about looking at your vocabulary and looking at where you can enrich it and use more eloquent vocabulary rather than just normal words. It's not about using unnecessary jargon. It's just about bringing your talk to life. Finally, you've got things like music and humour. How can you weave those in? Because an entertaining talk is something that's always more enjoyable than a talk. Quite frankly, a talk is boring. You're not going to get very far if you bore your audience to death. So these are all areas that we're going to be covering in a lot of detail through this programme. Right, so the next area then is charisma. Now, the great thing about charisma is that once you've got confidence and you've got great content, you're halfway there. And charisma can be engineered in your content to a great degree as well, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be covering in this system. The other two things are then based on how you deliver it. So it's all about your body language and how you use your voice. And again, there's a lot to cover on both of those things, so we're going to be going into those in a lot of detail in this system as well. And finally, we're looking at the continuous improvement. And the thing with continuous improvement, it's all about the right study, but it's no good studying anything unless you implement it. Then once you implement it, it's okay, how did I do? And how did I do comes from self-evaluation, and I'm going to teach you how to self-evaluate. And then it comes from getting feedback. But it's important that you get feedback from the right people. It's no good just getting feedback from well-meaning family or friends who are going to tell you, oh yeah, that was brilliant, even if it was rubbish. You need feedback that is going to be direct, and that, if you need to make changes, you need to make changes. But it's also feedback that is going to be supportive and build your confidence at the same time as building your competence. And the only way you're going to get that important feedback is basically from people who know what they're doing. So people who are trained public speaking and professional speaking coaches, or at the very least, if you get good evaluators in a speaking club such as Toastmasters. But even then, the quality of that feedback and that evaluation can vary depending on the experience of the person giving you that feedback. So those are all very important ways of continually improving what you do. So that's basically the heart of it, and that is really as far as I've got to at the moment in developing the actual model. What I'm going to be looking at as well is teaching you the important selling. I have learned so much about the selling side of things over the past even weeks. I've been on a suddenly accelerated journey through investing in myself over the past 9 months. And while I was a great speaker before, and I've also been in sales in the past, it's the way that you put those two things together. And for me, that was a big missing piece of my jigsaw puzzle until what I've learned over the last sort of 9 months. And I'm going to be teaching you how you actually work that selling in, so that actually you're not doing a hard sell. You don't want to be doing webinars or speaking on stage where it's great content, and then suddenly, right, that's the content, now I'm going to hit you with a sales pitch. That doesn't work that well, and you know, there are much more subtle ways of doing it, and where you're actually not selling, but you're leading the audience to buy from you. It's so much nicer. It's nicer for them, it's nicer for you. It builds your confidence. This, I'll be quite upfront with you, this was an area that I struggled with in terms of my confidence, but I can't tell you the difference it makes when you develop confidence with selling as well as confidence with speaking, and that is something that I'm going to be teaching you and helping you with as we go through this journey. Okay, so that's the system, that's what you can expect, and you might even, this model might even change. You're going to be seeing this as it builds and grows, and it's a very exciting journey for me, and I hope that it will be a very exciting journey for you as well. So that's it. I'll look forward to seeing you in the video tutorials within the rest of the system.